Good evening, everyone. Welcome to Hockey Night in Australia. I am your host, Sean O'Connor, and tonight I am joined by the ever-fantastic Courtney Kynaston. Court, how you going?
Good. What a bit of a crazy week in hockey last weekend was.
Certainly is.
Pretty keen to get
And
into
we
it.
are,
Very
and
excited.
we are joined by our special guest, the one and only, one of the co-founders of Hockey Hype Australia that became Oz Hockey Media, and ThoughtFox Media commentator, Andrew Macdougall. Doogie, how are you tonight?
Yeah, I'm good. The commentator bit's takes a bit to get used to, but yeah, in the commentator seat now.
Yeah, and that that's why I thought, I'm like, oh yeah, he's actually part of the ThoughtFox Media group, and he's not just his own media this year.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. It's been fun though. It's been fun at the early part of the season.
Yeah. Yes, you and Ollie seem to be getting on very well in your chemistry on the calls. But we'll get into that, guys. I do want to first start with the review of the week that's just been. It's been an interesting week, as you said, Court. Court, what was your favourite part of last weekend? What did you catch up on?
Look, I think this is going to be pretty obvious answer, and that would be having you've Jenny Skatchkoff back and scoring within 10 seconds was a pretty big way to stamp his return to the North Stars for this season. It was an unusual week for me. It was the only game I watched, whereas normally I get to a couple. I did watch a little bit of the Bears Ice Dogs replay, and that game looked pretty good. The Bears were looking good and like on track, and obviously they got on top of the ice, and I'm sure we'll get into a few of those things. But no, I think Skatchkov's return is probably my highlight.
Yeah, Andrew, did you get a chance to watch the Newcastle game at all?
I didn't get a chance to, but I'm not surprised that someone like Evgeny Sachkov comes in and scores. I think it was like 10 seconds into the game or something like that. One of those players, I spoke about it. I might have been on this podcast last year, but he's not like I don't find him to be a flashy hockey player, but he's a hockey player that I love to watch, if that sort of makes sense, even though he's not flashy. Just goes out there and gets the job done. So it's cool to see him back in Newcastle colours this season.
Yeah, and talk about an immediate impact, as you say, within 10 seconds scoring a goal. I do have the goal. I think we'll pull it up for a quick second because I think it's worthwhile seeing. This is what you call an instant impact.
Okay, it's Kubara, and we're underway.
Harara, live it now.
Skatchkoff straight in there.
Oh, Skatchkoff busy early. Skatchkoff with the puck now. Fires and scores. Welcome back to Newcastle. 10 seconds in.
It's quite a goal, quite a way to announce yourself for the start of the season. Yeah, a very good player. And he makes a difference for the North Stars, straight away. So, but he wasn't the only one making his season debut for the North Stars on the weekend. We also had Riley Klugerman. Courtney, how have you found Klugerman's evolution within the North Stars team?
Look, I feel like every year as he gets a bit older and he's just working hard every season, but he's going back overseas and playing and training. He's just getting better and stronger and smarter. He's probably one of the smartest hockey players that we have on the team as far as the sense and positioning and how to set people up. And I think he really brings an interesting element. And he's also small, so in the ability to be agile and move around players a bit quicker than some of our other players. So I think he's going to keep getting better and better. And he's still really young. I think he's like 20 something.
21, 22, something like that.
Yeah,
around that age. Very young. But he is that part of that new guard of players that have been coming through the last couple of years. I always think of like Mackenzie Bolger and Dimi Kulishov and the Costa brothers and players like this. Very, very exciting times. But yeah, that win for the win to the North Stars put them on top of the league.
Yeah.
You've got to be happy about that after, 4 rounds, being top of the league again?
Look, it's nice, and I know it's sort of covered a lot that, you can't win the cup in April, but it's nice to just get these early points from a fan perspective, and I feel like from the organization's perspective, racking up the points ASAP gives you a really solid landing as you move through the season. And I think we've seen it with the Ice Dogs and Adrenaline come to mind, where they get a bit of a good run midway, but they haven't got those early points, and it really impacts them from that sort of May, June onwards. So I think it's, I love seeing them on top, but like Bert said the last week when we had him on, let's ask me that question in August.
So we've got a few comments here, guys. So Eric Brooks says Riley Klugerman's goal, which would have made the score 9-1, was textbooks Klugs, but it got called off due to the incident in the back play. Yes, and we will get into the incident later, Eric, I'm sure. It was definitely one of the talking points for the week. Yeah. I don't know. What did you guys? We might as well get into it now. What did you guys make of that incident, Doogie?
I didn't think there was much in it, to be honest. I always look at these sorts of things and these sorts of incidents, and I try and sort of put them into little boxes, I suppose, of actually putting yourself in the shoes of a hockey player. Because there's a lot of things that happen on the ice where people in the crowd, and you see it online as well, like in AI fans, people get outraged, like absolutely outraged. And we've seen that in the past with players like Darcy Flanagan or Joachim Erdogan, etc., who really divide the community, the hockey community. I didn't think there was too much in it. I thought it was just a bit of what happens out on the ice, a bit of, between two teams. And I suppose maybe it escalated to an area that we didn't think it would. But I don't think it needed anything outside of what happened, I suppose, on game day. To me, it was just one of those things that happens in hockey sometimes where it gets a bit heated, something might have been said, or just something might have happened, like a little touch on the shins or something, whatever, something just to set a player off. But I don't think it's anything that we need to be too microscoping down on the incident. I think a lot of these things are just hockey plays that happen in hockey. It's a heated rivalry, it's a heated circumstance, and sometimes it just happens.
Yeah, totally. What did you make of it, Courtney?
I guess being there, I saw Obi swing his blocker, and that to me immediately usually warrants a bit more than just getting kicked out of the game. But it was I kind of kept an eye on comments and people's opinions in the chats a bit this week, just seeing what different people thought. And there was a validated point in that I believe it was a Sheeta last year got a 1-game suspension for throwing his blocker, but then they haven't done it in this instance. So, we while we do at some point have to trust the process has to be consistent. You can't do one thing for one player and not for another. So, I think I also saw a comment, it might have been from Todd, that the Rhinos can't handle any suspensions. They've got it hard enough. So I did like that, but I think just consistency would be good.
Yeah, that makes sense. It's interesting. When I first saw what happened, I thought, oh yeah, definitely he's going to be done for a game, maybe 2 games. But then after reviewing the incident multiple times during the week, I definitely came to a point where I'm going, well, he doesn't actually lead with the actual blocker. He leads with his glove. On the other hand, and he doesn't really punch him. He kind of just sort of taps the back of his head. So I think it's probably a bit more overplayed than what actually happened in the end. And I think that I'm quite okay with what the decision was that they came to. And I'm sure that the Rhinos will be very happy for that, because Obi gets to travel on the unfortunate AIHL to having to go to both Adelaide and Perth in the single weekend. So, tough weekend ahead for the Rhinos, and I bet they're very happy that they've got Obi there.
I think one thing as well, just on it, like I think if like rivalries aside, a lot of people are fans of their teams, etc. You got to sort of sit back, I think, as well, and think to yourself: do you want to see the best players in the competition not playing for things like this? Like that's sort of the way I look at it as well. These are sort of things where you want to see the best players sort of rubbed out for a week or 2 weeks.
Yeah, that's right. And yeah, Daniel Collins comes in and says, really didn't like the play by Ethan, up 8-1, and then giving it to a 17-year-old rookie for making a mistake. Not cool. And that was the thing that set him off on that. But, no matter what sets you off, he did overreact. And I think Obi would be the first to go, yeah, look, that it was just a heat of a moment thing that I just reacted to. And, that it plays being, down, was it 6-0 at the time? That all plays a part into it after a loss the day before. So, yeah, Claire Collins, heated rivalry, very much so.
Doogie said it as you were going through your thoughts there, and I was chuckling too.
And yeah, friend of the show, banners on the wall. For me, he used his hand side of his blocker to push rather than what Ashita did, which was whack a guy with his blocker. And I think that's probably what spared him having a suspension in the end. And yeah, Steve Smith, Obi was frustrated as hell. That's right.
Even Obi said to me after the game, I walked up and I'm like, I told him I never thought I'd see that happen. He's like, yep, first time I've ever been ejected from a game ever. So
really? I did not know that.
Yep. Never been that makes sense to me because he always just seems to be so composed, cool, calm, collected. Like he, last year and then the year before, he's facing 50, 60 shots, over 100 shots across a weekend. That's a lot of work, and he always stays cool. So that this was a moment that really mattered to him to stand up for a teammate. And I do give him credit for that aspect. Like you've got to look after each other out there.
Yeah, nice. Yeah, I agree. So I do want to get a couple other comments here. One from Paul Finesse. Hey team, first chance to watch live. Great to have you along, Paul. Jared, hello friends. Hey Jared.
He's gonna wait.
Well, yet again, they left Southern Lights goal scorer off the intro biggie. Get the lawyers. That's true. In case no one knows, Diggy scored a fantastic goal for the Southern Lights the last week. Diggy, how did it feel to score that goal?
It was all right, mate. It was all right. Just perseverance, Never give up on a play. That's the motto.
That's it. There's a lot of players in the AIHL who could do with that sort of wisdom. And then we've got Andrew here. She'd never whacked a guy with the blocker. The blocker was whacked by a guy. Yeah, I guess there's always two sides to a story, right?
That's very funny.
So, obviously, the Newcastle game wasn't the only game of the weekend. We did see the Ice versus the Bears, with the Bears prevailing 4-1. Another loss for the Ice. It's now quite a bad start for the Champions, but a really good, really continuing that sort of tone for the Bears. They closed the gap on the top three in the standings, and again showed that they're quietly getting the job done. What did you guys see the game at all? It was a very physical game, I thought. Yeah, interesting to say the least.
Diggy?
I think the Ice are in a hole. Let's be honest. Off the back of a championship, like let's not beat around the bush with all that sort of stuff. Can they dig out of the hole? Absolutely. Like they've got the quality within that squad to dig out of the hole, and they've got Kerry, who's now a proven championship coach, to get them out of that hole as well. And they're obviously, if you're a Melbourne Ice fan, you're hoping that you've got some reinforcements on the way at some stage to come into this squad. But the further you get behind, the harder it is. You want to be in front rather than chasing, especially in a league like this as well. And when I look at the Bears game, the Bears, they went 50% on the power play. And the Ice went 0 for 8. So if you think about if the Ice go 50% on the power play in that game, we've got a totally different game on our hands as well. So I don't think it's all doom and gloom for the Melbourne Ice. I think the Bears, they will start to get rolling. I think when I think about this league and I think about the Bears, they just seem to be a team that will be there at the end. That's sort of how it goes. And I think they'll start to get rolling. But I don't think it's doom and gloom. I think if the Ice were able to take some power play opportunities, it's a totally different game.
Yeah. And I think you can always look back to the Brave. I think it was in 2024 where they basically lost like their first 10 games. They had like one win after the first 10, yet they were able to turn the season around, get into finals, and then actually become Goodall Cup champions. So, yeah, it's definitely not too late for the Ice, but yeah, it's definitely not been an ideal start. And I think there's a bit of there's a feeling of like chaos around the Ice at the moment.
Yeah, well, I mean, when you look, we obviously the big gap in the back end is that Ashita hasn't been here, so we can only assume what's going on in the background there as far as that's concerned. And that, I think that can have an impact on the mindset of players. When you have an incredible goalie back there, everyone in front will play different, and I think we're seeing a little bit of that. But then, as Doogie said, it's like who are those pieces of the puzzle that they're waiting for that need to come in that will just make things click and might turn the table for them.
Yeah,
I think your point on Ashita is a good one, Courtney, because like different goaltender as well, they all act differently in between the pipes. And so Ashita could be a big talker out there. He could be directing traffic, but there could be some goaltenders that come in that aren't as experienced as Ashita that might not be like that. So it does change the dynamic between the defenders and the goaltender and the forwards. So it is a good point.
Yeah. And I mean, like, Forrest, for instance, is one of those two goaltenders that's come in for the Ice in Ashita's absence. And, he's exceedingly green when it comes to AIHL games still. So he's still learning his craft and building up his confidence at this level. And yeah, Mackenzie Hill also only has a handful of games in the AIHL, so it would be quite similar, especially in an Ice team that is full of a lot of like older stars of the league. It could be quite intimidating. I don't know. I'm not played at that kind of level, but yeah, it's I find it an interesting dynamic, at least anyway.
A good head of hair on Hill too, just by the way.
Yeah, that's right. There's been some good photos of him this year too. I'll have to post one up on our socials, but yeah. Moving on, I thought the Ice Dogs will be a good team to talk about next. Obviously, they enjoyed another good win at home. They seem to be quite formidable at home at the moment. Back into the top 6 and an important win over a team that's also sort of fighting towards the top of the table in the Mustangs. Diggy, you called this game. How did you find the game?
It's tough with the Ice Dogs because they've played the lowest amount of games in the comp. So, and they're just not able to get that continuity, I suppose, that some of the other teams are playing back-to-backs and things like that. It's been like one game and then a week's break and then another game. But they are playing well at Macquarie. And the biggest thing that from last week, well, I'm a big fan of Ryan Burrows in the net for the Ice Dogs, been a really, really good pickup for Sydney. The big thing from last weekend was Kale Costa coming back in to that team. Is absolutely massive. Just changes the dynamic of the power play and the lines as well. It gives Jason Quisler just some different forward pairings that he can sort of throw around. And if something's not firing, we've seen Daniel Chen with Grant Toolman and Dimitri Kuleshov. But then if that's not working, then he'll flick around someone else and throw them on with Dimitri and Toolman. It just gives a bit more of a variety for Jason Quisler to actually sort of try and see what's working on the day. And Kale coming in just creates that depth for the Ice Dogs. And they're really strong on the back end. Like if people get a chance to watch the Ice Dogs, and people will in Melbourne this week if they don't watch on AITV, D'Agostino and Shane Hanna on the back end are absolutely phenomenal. Like they carry the puck and they move forward like they're forwards, not defenders. It's really, really good to watch. And someone like D'Agostino could play as a forward, I feel anyway. But if you can stop them from getting forward, that's a big reason why you'd beat the Ice Dogs. But it's very, very difficult.
Yes, I've been a big fan of Shane Hanna and D'Agostino as well. I think they've been amazing finds for the Ice Dogs this year. And yeah, having both both Dmitry Kuleshov and Cal Costa in a team, as locals, as well as Grant Toolman and others, like they've built an amazingly good team kind of out of, I would say nowhere, but it has been building. But yeah, this is kind of like more of a culmination of what Jason has been building to. Courtney, did you get a chance to watch the game at all?
I didn't watch it, but I did notice something really interesting in the box scores. Not only was it a high penalty game, but the Mustangs really, really fell down as far as their power plays. So box score says they got 0 goals for 11 opportunities on the power play. That really, I think, says a lot about their special teams and an area that they're going to want to work on through the season, because really those power play moments, when you have that extra man advantage, you should be scoring on a lot more than none out of 11 opportunities. But
I think it also shows something about, as well as the Ice Dogs penalty kill, right? Because they kept the ice as well without a goal on the power play. So those kind of things. Yeah, but 11, the box was just rotate. Like everyone was in the box all the time in that game.
Like on the other side, Ice Dogs got 2 goals out of 9 power play opportunities. So, that's a lot. That's 20 penalties happened across the game. That's a lot of penalties in one game. But yeah, I think that little piece of information just really stood out to me. That's Mustangs sort of felt good in the first couple of weeks and then have sort of slipped a little. So they got a bit to work on, and I definitely think that's one of them.
Yeah, one other thing that actually caught me about that game was Daniel Chen scored his first goal for the Ice Dogs, a player who's moved over from Adelaide. His kind of first out of his home team experience. How did you guys? What are you guys feeling about Daniel Chen's prospects at the Ice Dogs? He seems to be fitting in quite well.
I think he's got a great coach in Jason. Jason he's done a lot of the like under 20s and like the junior level national teams. He knows how to run the kids and inspire them, and I think he will thrive under that kind of coaching. And he's also a player that I just keep seeing get better and better every year. Same as Klugerman. So he's got a long career in the AIHL, I think.
I think.
Go, Diggy.
Oh, sorry, mate. I was just going to say, I think he's been knocking on the door for the past 3 games, really, to score his first Ice Dogs goal. Sometimes I feel like he should shoot more. Sometimes I feel like he gets into his positions and he picks the pass first rather than shooting. When I feel like he's really got a good release and can find the back of the net. But when we're talking about Cal Costa, that's going to be the flow-on effect of someone like Kale coming back into the Ice Dogs. I suppose that might relieve a little bit of pressure off Daniel Chen, where Daniel doesn't feel like he has to be that prolific goal scorer. One of those sort of big signings that switched across, as you said, Sean, from Adelaide to Sydney. But with someone like Kale coming in, all it does is just strengthen the forwards. And then a lot of the time when you get these class players that come in like Kale, they just bump someone down, not so much like bumping him down because you're no good, but it just relieves the pressure of scoring, and maybe it's going to free up Daniel to put pucks in the back of the net.
Yeah, and as you say, I think it gives Jason a lot more options. He can shake up the lines as well and put players for different situations where he thinks that they will excel the most, right? And get them the result that they need. It's always good to have the headache of having too many good players to be able to put out than not having enough, right? So I think the next game that I wanted to move on, well, the next team I wanted to move on to was the Mustangs. They obviously split their weekend. This was their third weekend in a row that they've split. It's been an unusual start for the Mustangs to the season. But one other thing I wanted to say, Seb Woodlands, he came back. He started his first game for ages for the Mustangs. Doogie, how did you feel seeing Seb back in the lineup?
I think it's great. I think before the season, I actually thought they might just go with Woodlands and Pappas for the season. I just thought back in the locals. Obviously they've got Gisbrecht in there as well, who's got a resume that's really, really strong. But seeing Seb back in the Mustangs colours, I think it's great, not just for the Mustangs, just for hockey in Australia, because Seb's one of those highly touted goaltenders that has just struggled with the body, getting some fitness and injuries and things like that. So to see Seb back in for the Mustangs, I don't think the scoreline sort of did it justice for the way Seb played against the Ice Dogs. I thought Seb was really, really solid in between the pipes. But it was really good to see, just after all the years of injuries and trying to come back and things like that. I think it was great to see, not just for the Mustangs, but just for Oz hockey in general.
Yeah. Courtney, what do you think? Seeing Seb back.
Look, he's one of those solid backstops for the team. So sort of like I said a moment ago, just with Ashita not being there for Melbourne Ice. Look, I can talk from my personal experience. I know when I've got a solid goalie, the way you play in front is different. So I think the team will just know what he's like and how reliable he is. And that can even come down to a trust level. With an experienced goalie, you might not burn as much energy, so you might be able to conserve a bit more energy with the way you play, trusting that he's going to track that puck and stop it in a certain situation. Like most Ds and most players will try and obviously block a shot. They don't want it to get through to their goalie, but yeah, it's another one of those situations. I think that he is that staple that the team know, and that can then create a bit of strength from their forward.
And hopefully stop the splitting of weekends. I'm hoping that they can have a weekend where they come away with a sweep for the weekend. I think that will do the Mustangs a world of good. They do have some very talented imports this year, actually. I was quite impressed with the new guy that came in, David Gator, the Swiss guy. I don't know how to pronounce his name. I do apologize.
I think it's Gaeta, I think.
Yeah. Yeah, anyway,
so.
I think it's quite good. And I think it goes quite well with their other one, Philippe Caron, who has been really impressive this season coming in. He puts on a lot of assists for the Mustangs. But I think they've recruited well there, and they've obviously got their goaltender as well. I think there's big upsides to the Mustangs this year. They just got to get that consistency rolling.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think they've got. I think like Caron, you see on the power play as well, just sort of sitting at the top of the power play as that defender as well, sort of just, I suppose, quarterbacking it a little bit. I think Colin McIntosh has been huge for the Mustangs as well this season, like coming across from New Zealand, just fitting in like hand to glove, like absolutely perfect, picking up 2 goals against the Ice Dogs. And it was actually, we spoke about it on the Thought Fox pre-game, the players to highlight, and we landed on McIntosh, and it was a good feeling when you highlight a key player and then they put 2 in the back of the net when the commentary rolls around. So it sort of shows that we know what we're talking about a little bit. But I think they have got a solid squad there, just trying to get those back-to-back wins, as you said, Sean.
Yeah, and Colin McIntosh, he always just seems to be in the right place at the right time to hit the puck into the net. He's just got that real knack, and like he's been doing that in the AIHL for years. It's so good to see him come over and do that here as well. So I'm always excited by watching him, and I think the Mustangs are very lucky that they were able to grab him at this year. So hopefully he scores many more goals. So I thought we'd just bring up Sorry?
Yeah, no, you're going to do it. There's a comment in there just from Michael, and I just think the last thing he said really hits the nail on the head with what we're talking about. with active rosters changing between travel and home games, and where you can't see what an actual team looks like this early when you're not getting everyone travel and you're not getting everyone sort of buying into every single game.
Yeah, I 100% agree. And I think that also there's still players that still haven't arrived.
Yeah.
You look at the ice right now, they have like 1, 2, or 2 imports. The Brave have still got imports to come in. There's still players that are still arriving, so, and changing all the time. And road teams always travel with a lot less players, so they don't roll 4 lines. They tend to roll 3 lines or 2.5 lines. So it can be quite difficult.
Yeah. There's also an interesting comment in there, Sean, from William Jordan Hayes saying he's heard there's visa issues with Ashita. So that's interesting. A paperwork issue stopping one of their like key players from being available.
Yes, the whole Ashita issue has been interesting. He was at the what do you call it? The opening presentation, the jersey presentation for the ice this year, and then has had to go back home to Japan. What's happening now? I don't know. Is he coming back or not? Who knows? Or are the ice going to be looking for someone else? I don't know. They need to sort out what they're doing at some point, because I don't think it's working too well for them right now, the current situation. So yeah, they need reinforcements in their team, period, I think, which is not ideal, but there's still a lot of time left. Yeah, so there were some other comments on here. Yeah, Ghetto was a problem at Arena. Yep. And yeah, Philippe is slotted very well into the team. I mean, that's what you always want, right? You always want players to slot in well. And yeah, you can't ask for more when it comes to imports. And are there any others on here that's worthwhile bringing up that I can't see right on here? Let's just move on. Otherwise, I'm going to be looking through the list.
I do. Claire just commented again, just saying the level of Japanese imports are phenomenal this year, which I think is spot on. We're seeing some incredible talent coming over.
Yeah, I mean, the guy at Newcastle, and, I can't remember all the players' names off the top of my head. We've got the guy we've had the guy at the Central Coast Rhinos, and yeah, there's been some good players for sure. I can't remember anyone's names right now.
All good.
I think the closer we tap into Asia as a hockey nation is going to be beneficial for the game here. I think like fostering those partnerships with Asian nations is only going to help improve hockey in Australia.
Yep.
Oh, totally. I can't actually believe how well a lot of these players have come in and really contributed and added so much to our league. Like this when they started this rule, I didn't know if they were actually going to bring many players over. Like there seemed to be quite a bit of hesitancy between different teams. Should we really be bringing over someone if they don't know English and stuff like this? But like, they've just added so much and done so well. Like Ashita was a shining light, and you start building those connections, you can then bring more and more players over. And we're seeing that now, which is great. Yeah, we got a few more comments on here. Japanese imports catching on. Even Basingstoke in the UK have signed one for 25, 26, 27. I should say. Yeah, totally. Yeah. There's so many talented players. I mean, Japan and Korea and that they're very highly ranked in the IIHF World Championships. So it doesn't surprise me that they do well here. Yeah. And then Mark. Hey, Mark. Nice to see you on. All right. I think it's time to jump into our news section. Bears coach leaving. I think let's start with this. So I do actually have a graphic here. Bit of a surprise. I wasn't expecting this. What was your reaction to this, Courtney? Like, it seemed to come out of nowhere.
It did. I think straight off the bat, when you read the Bears club statement that he's had some personal situation come up, you just, it is what it is, really, and you just have to support someone in that, because we don't know the extent of what that means. But it just feels very rough for the team itself, and hoping that we're not seeing a repeat of 2024 when something similar happened. They lost a coach and had to sort of rebuild what they were doing for the season. Look, hopefully it's early enough in the season that it has a very minimal impact on what comes next for the team.
Yeah. Dougie, what did you think? Did it catch you by surprise?
My first thought when I heard the news, I just thought straight away, I thought back to Tyler Huberty. And that time at the Bears as well. It was almost like, it just felt like the same thing when I first heard the news that the coach was moving on. I think for the Bears, if it's personal issues, then you wish the person all the best, and obviously family comes first and got to head back home. If you're the Bears, it is a bit of a kick in the guts, though, when you think about the resources and the time to put into one to find the coach, interview the coach, offer the coach the role. I suppose maybe even build a roster around that coach and the philosophy of that coach as well. So yeah, it's a bit of a blow to the Bears, and I suppose we'll see in the next coming weeks how they sort of bounce back from it. And if it's business as usual and they just keep rolling on. But they've had a few coaches now in a short space of time. If you take away the not playing last season, there's been a few coaches in that sort of little pocket of games, I suppose.
Yeah, it's definitely not ideal. And and they've started out quite well this season as well, which is, I guess, we always raises the bar of like, oh, damn. It's not like it's performance-based and that's why he's leaving. Or it just, yeah, it's either personal issues, which, if it is, I wish him all the best for that. But yeah, otherwise it's just, yeah, it's a bit intriguing, I suppose. Ryan Annesley is taking over. He's the captain, assistant coach, and now is going to be the interim head coach. When I heard that's quite a lot of hats for one person. Hopefully he can step up and do well. Yeah, he's obviously a consummate professional and has been part of that Bears organization for a long time. So I know he was with the North Stars last year on loan. Yeah. Do you feel like he will do a good job, Courtney?
Oh, yeah, absolutely. He's been such a solid member of that organization for such a long time that I would assume that he's got a lot of respect from the players and the people around him that he's leading. So, it makes sense that he gets that role in, like, it is interim. So hopefully they do find someone to fill it, because I think coach being coach, player being player is important. But yeah, I just think he's got what it takes, and he's done it before. So
that word interim as well, I also found interesting. Do you think that implies that they're going to be looking for someone else permanently, or do they actually expect their coach to come back? I don't know.
Well, it could go either way. We don't know what that personal circumstance was that's required him to leave. So if it's something temporary where he's just got to be gone a month and comes back, but to announce it in a big way, like he's gone, as opposed to he's gone but he'll be back in a month, it's like that to me would be two very different messaging like statements that they would put out. So to me, I would lean to an assumption that he's gone. Ryan's stepping up because they needed someone right now, and hopefully they're looking for someone to come and be a bit more permanent for the tail end of the season.
Yeah, what do you think of Ryan stepping up, Dougie?
I'm waiting for next week Ryan to be announced as the GM too. All these hats, all these hats that Ryan's putting on. I think he'll be fine. I think there's a familiarity with Ryan there and the Bears and the playing group. And if they don't know what Ryan's all about now, like he's been around for so long, then they're probably not paying attention. So I think Ryan will be fine. And it will be interesting to see what the Bears do if they go. If they look for another coach, or they just keep Ryan in there. But personally, I would just love to see more Australian coaches getting opportunities in the AI myself. Look locally, Surely we've got enough talented local coaches out there that can step in and do a job.
Yeah, well, Daniel agrees. Bears are in good hands with Ryan. And Michael Smith, Riser always finds a way to contribute to his team, even when injured. He's no stranger to wearing a suit on the bench instead of a jersey. So, yeah, I'm sure he'll be fine. And Michael here, Michael Foss for the Bears. What could go wrong? Recently available, so, you know. Oh man. Okay, this brings us into our next topic, I think. Oh, 1 second, Eric Barrick has something here. Does Riser have a bus driver's hat? He could. Why not? Just do absolutely everything.
He needs a hat. That's what he needs.
A hat. That's it. That is coach, GMs, pony driver, hot dog seller, fire marshal. Let's see Ryan do the lot. Right, that would make for a great video. And the Bears have been producing some good videos this year too. So I'd love something like that. That would be so funny.
Before we get off the Bears, I do want to shout out, like, following obviously that announcement, they then turned around and dropped some very cool merch. I am such a fan. It's just nice to see something a bit different, and it is leaning into the book community. But I saw a really cool comment from someone who discovered the Bears and discovered hockey from the book community, who's like, yes, I came in because of the hockey romance novels, but now I cheer and support for the team, and I'm sticking around because now I love the team and the environment and what it is to be at a live game. And I think that's incredibly powerful. And some of us might, like, I know there are people that don't love the book talk community, but when they come in, no matter how they find the sport, once they're there and they love it and they're respectful and they join the fan base and they become what we are to our teams, I think that's awesome. And I think it's really important. So for the Bears to lean into that, which is bigger in Sydney, I think is genius. And they've put out some really good, tasteful merch that I just think is awesome.
Yeah, no. A lot of teams do tend to put out some pretty cool stuff, but yeah, I've never seen anything quite like that from the Bears. So it is definitely new for the league. But the Bears seem to be capitalizing on that quite a lot. I mean, you look at their crowds are massive in Sydney. So, you watch any game and there's just the whole stadium seems to always be packed. So, yeah, they're obviously doing something right, connecting to the community.
Yeah.
So the next topic I wanted to bring on to was Aziz Bazi. Obviously, has been a Rhino for the last couple of years, is now a North Stars. You guys actually put out a pretty cool video yourselves on socials today with the whole name being sewn onto the jersey and then presented to him. I very much enjoyed that bit of content, but it's a massive get for the North Stars, a very offensive defenseman. Ziggy, what do you think of the signing of Bazi?
I think it's a good signing. I think, like you just mentioned, offensively, I feel like he's going to provide a lot for this Newcastle North Stars team. It's going to be interesting, actually, to see how the North Stars actually use Aziz Bazi. Because I find someone like Ethan Hawes very offensive-minded as well, loves to get up on the puck and up into the rush. So it will be interesting. My only worry is I feel like he can be a bit suspect defensively at times. But in saying that, maybe under the guidance of someone like Kevin at the club could really sort of round that out, and playing in that Newcastle team where it seems like Newcastle every year make the finals, and if you come in, you've got to play the Newcastle way and the Newcastle structure and things like that and buy into what is happening at Hunter. Maybe it could be good for Aziz and really sort of round out his game.
Courtney, what do you make of the signing?
Look, I think it's excellent in the sense of, I know there's been an element of really wanting to push for a more solid backline. There was a bit of changeover in the last sort of 2-3 years where a few players moved out, and it just, I guess, knowing what I know, being behind the scenes, I know they were looking for some solid defense. So if he can bring that and lift the game just like Funes does, just like Hawes does. Like we're getting that really solid back line that then supports a great goalie like Trinker. So to me, it's exciting. I'm looking forward to seeing what he does when we get him on the ice for the first game that he can play. And pretty keen to watch him live because I loved watching him the last 2 seasons. He just moves well and plays well. And talking to Liam Manwaring a few times after games, he's really emphasized how it's just a really good room this year. The guys have clicked. They're working for each other and they're working really well, and they're all feeling a different sense of how they're playing this year. So it's exciting.
Yes, we've got a question here from Todd to yourself, Courtney. With Newcastle signing as is Marcy, there seems to be a lot of publicity and social posts. Is this just to stir up Rhino fans?
Yes.
It's the same reason why you signed Funes, right? Just to stir up Bears fans. It's just memeing everything.
From the best of the best because we're the best. We're just bringing them all to Newcastle.
There's obviously a bit of love for As Is as well, and some sadness from Rhinos fans, but yeah, absolutely.
I think one thing is that he's going to bring excitement into that building at Newcastle. Yeah. That's definitely one thing.
Because he did that. He did that at Arena as well. Like he was always a very exciting player to watch. You don't know what quite was going to happen when Aziz got on the puck.
Yeah,
but yes, it should be good. Yeah. Speaking of the Rhinos, though, there was some sad news this week. Obviously, Hashimoto picked up an injury last week. It appears to be worse than initially thought. I just want to send out a really heartfelt thanks for everything so far, and really hope you get well soon. Hopefully he's been able to recover from this and continue. But yeah, it seems pretty bad at the moment.
Yeah, you never want to see anyone get injured in any capacity. So from the limited knowledge we have of what's happened, I couldn't agree more. We just hope he can get it sorted and fixed up and get through it quickly.
Yeah, you've had a bit more to do with the Rhinos, so you would have watched Hashimoto a bit so far this season.
Yeah, and it's disappointing because I was looking forward to rolling out the graphics for Hashimoto throughout the season. Exciting player, and someone that it was really like, I suppose, a nucleus for the Rhinos in their early season form, and someone who had that experience of playing with Alex Bouvin as well at a previous club. So you had those two players that knew each other, almost, I suppose, knew where each other were out on the ice and things like that. But in terms of when we talk about Japanese players, one of the most exciting Japanese players I think that we've seen come into the competition, and someone who it's great to see when it's not a goaltender, because you see these imports come in as standouts that can be goaltenders. To see a forward from Japan like Hashimoto come in and just really light up the competition and get you on the edge of your seat, it was really cool to watch. So really disappointing, and you send out your thoughts, and I believe heading home on Monday, I think, back to Japan. So just a shame for the Rhinos in the league as a whole, because really, really cool signing.
I feel like we kind of feel a bit robbed that he won't be around for any more of the season, because he was a very exciting player. Mark obviously agrees. Get better soon, and Daniel as well, and some of the best wheels. Yeah, he was very quick. Oh. I mean, that's what the Rhinos were built on, right? They were built on that speed. Like, they were just lightning quick down the other side. But,
it's just quickly, like, especially when they've signed Bastille, like, you see the wheels on Bastille, like, and they're just not going to get that weeks and weeks of Hashimoto and Bastille on the same team together. It's just disappointing.
Yeah, and Todd, he was great on the ice. It was sad to see. So, we wish him all the best. We really hope that he recovers well and can at some point return. That would be amazing. So I want to now move into our interview section, Doogie. Our chat. Obviously, this season, your first season being a commentator in the AIHL with Thought Fox Media, and you're commentating the Ice Dogs games. How have you found the experience? Because you're obviously a very experienced commentator, but the first time in the AI. How have you found the new experience, and what differences are there between ADub commentating and AI commentating?
It's weird. Like I didn't expect this to happen. I've done obviously commentary for the past 3 seasons with the Australian Women's Ice Hockey League, and I was just a colour commentator. In the first year I did it alongside Gordon, and then I shifted into play-by-play for the last 2 years. And then that's when I got to work with Michael from Thought Fox Media as well. And maybe I impressed Michael through my ADub calling, that Michael thought there was a spot for me amongst the family for the AI. But it's been really cool, especially considering I've covered this AI for until this year as like a writing articles and things. I've covered it since 2010 off and on type of thing. So to actually get an opportunity to call AI games is really cool. I was nervous for the first game. I don't know why, but it feels different. I don't know. Maybe it's a bit more of a rabid fan base, I suppose, where there's a bit more of a spotlight and a bit more scrutiny on certain aspects of the game with the AI. But that's cool because that just helps you improve, makes you get better. Yeah. You sort of got to take everything as not personal and just professional. And that's the way I see it with hockey here. So that's the way I look at it with commentary as well. But it was really cool, and to do it alongside Ollie as well, Oliver Walker-Peel, who's an absolute pro. If people don't know Ollie, do a bit of a Google search and check out all the things that Ollie's done with football/soccer, commentating overseas, and amazing.
Like NPL, yeah.
He commentates the A-Leagues, so he does radio commentary for the A-League. So he did the finals between Sydney and Melbourne Victory on radio a couple of weeks back. So absolute pro. So to do it alongside Ollie, who I've known for some years now with ADub commentary and things like that. And just cool to sit alongside Ollie and call Ice Dogs home games.
Fantastic, mate. Fantastic. Obviously, you're also... Actually, I'm first going to get into the comments because there's a few comments here for you too, which I think is pretty cool. Been great having Doogie join the team, mate. Michael, you obviously impressing the boss, mate.
He's a legend. He's a legend.
And Claire, you're killing it, Doogie. You've done your research and you know the game inside out. Love your work. I think that's a big thing, right? When it comes to any commentator, if you've done a little bit of research, it makes such a big difference when calling a game, because it is easy. I think it's easy enough to wing a game, but everyone can tell when you're winging a game.
I think one thing that helped me is my full-time job. So obviously, unfortunately, the three of us can't make a full-time living doing this stuff. But my full-time job, I have the ability to listen to radio, etc., podcasts all day. And I listen to, as people know, I'm a Calgary Flames fan. So I listen to just about every single home game for the Calgary Flames, or every game, sorry, not home and away, on their radio. And I think doing that as well helps my commentary, where I pick up little nuances that hockey people might understand or things like that. And especially when I'm doing play-by-play, I commentate for people who either aren't watching and they're doing something else around the house, or they potentially could be vision impaired and things like that, where they can't see the screen 100%. So I'd like to describe what is actually happening out there, so they sort of know where the play is and what is happening. So I try and take into consideration those sorts of things as well.
Now, I can't remember if this was your first game or the last game that you just called, but on one of the games you had some technical difficulties in one of the periods with Ollie's mic, and you had to suddenly take over play-by-play.
Yeah.
How is it like, changing your mindset, going from being a color commentator or an analyst to being the play-by-play, sort of almost on the fly?
I was like, don't do this to me, please. But it worked out well. I actually got a couple of goals, I think, in that call as well. and then we got the mic fixed up for Ollie. But yeah, it was a little bit stressful. But as we always say with Michael, nothing goes smoothly. And if it's something not popping up, you got to fix it. There's something wrong maybe. But I think afterwards, when we went off air, we sort of discussed it. It's sort of a blessing in disguise that Ollie and I can both do play-by-play in case those sorts of things do happen. So yeah, it was a bit stressful there for a couple of minutes, and then you sort of find your groove again after you call a couple of plays.
It's good, and that's actually a really good point, because there would be plenty of analysts, commentators that we have that haven't called play-by-play before, and they would be in a lot of world of trouble if they were suddenly put onto play-by-play. Yeah, could you do it?
I am purely color commentator. I have the intention to learn, but if it happened tomorrow, absolutely not. I would try. I would probably no one would get named. It would just be this team's doing that team's doing, I would just name the team as opposed to the knowing the names. And I think that's what I respect the most out of people that can do play-by-play so well, is how quick they can adapt, and just their brain just connects the number to the name very quickly, because the way that puck moves, it's fast. So when you're jumping from player to player to player to player, it's it's a skill. It's going to be a practiced skill, and I have an incredible team like Michael to work with and learn how to do it. I just haven't started yet.
We've got a few comments about this too. Talent borrows, genius steals, my motto. The amount I've stolen from Cloughy means it's likely I owe him royalty, or at least a beer. I love that. So true, right? The more you listen to people, and I find that even I've only ever done commentary once, and that was a very last minute thing. But then I remember the next few times that I was listening to any kind of sports, you kind of start listening to the commentators more than you're actually just following the play, which is interesting. And I'm sure all you guys must do that all the time. So, and you pick up different techniques and different ideas.
Even some of the terminology I enjoy, some of the words or ways that they'll say something. I'm lucky enough to work from home, so I do have a lot of NHL or PWHL on as just background. And because I'm working, I'm really mainly listening to it. And I find myself thinking, oh, that's a really clever way to say that. And I can't think of anything right at this moment as an example, but I do. It's sort of just, you take it in, and then in the moment of a game, it'll just come out. So, yeah.
Yeah. And we got Eric. Yeah, there are so many people multi-screening these days that an audio description is so handy, and that people can switch in commentary between play-by-play and color commentary. Yeah, it's so true. And yeah, we've got G as well. Yeah, play-by-play is so important for those who are visually impaired, and it really is a skill. And I know that people who do call for the radio call differently as well than people who normally just call for TV. I always found that in cricket, especially. But yeah.
Yeah, I try and blend the two as much as I can. So instead of just saying that, say, Kale Costa has the puck and is entering the zone, I'll say that Kale Costa is going down the left wing or the left-hand side. So you get that sort of description to people that are listening.
Yes, and Daniel here, having the spotting chart is a massive help. And just don't say Charlie Smart still plays for Newcastle All-Stars like I did. Yeah. I mean, there's always mistakes. Everyone always makes mistakes on air. I think it's impossible to go through a whole game and go, yeah, that was absolutely perfect. But yeah. Michael saying, thanks, mate. Yep. That's it. Fantastic. And does the UK have Karcher's Corner? I don't know. Good question. If they don't, they need to. Sadly, no Karcher Corner, but I can show you the scaffolding tower I stand in, Cloughy. Just the delights of Burrito Loco. Oh, man. I think the wall over, rink. I swear most rinks tend to have, some crazy stuff in them. Yeah. The UK especially. I think it'd be great. Okay, guys.
Before we jump off comments, there's just one other one that popped in when we were talking about Ollie. Michael shared he's gotten the call up from SBS to call some World Cup games, which is pretty incredible. So we've got a pretty high standard of commentators happening in the league at the moment, which is exciting for our league, because if you have any new people watching, you have good people talking about the game and what's going on. They're gonna stick around and maybe even try and get to live games.
Yeah, and it also just shows you, like, you can make a start in being a commentator in the AIHL, for instance, in the A-Dub, all our hockey levels, really, and that can then build into something bigger. Yeah, like it's really cool to see. Like, how we've got like stepping stones for players and everything. It's also great to see that there are stepping stones for other parts of the hockey world. So yeah.
I will say the only flaw that Ollie has is he's a Toronto Maple Leaf supporter. That's the only flaw that I can find.
Everyone always seems to be Maple Leaf supporters. I don't know what it is. They seem to be everywhere.
They are everywhere.
or Canadian fans, right? But that's okay. Okay, I did want to touch on another aspect of what you're doing this season, Doogie, which is your Central Coast Rhinos graphics, mate. You've got some multi-allegiances going this season. How are you handling this? Do you find that you're supporting both teams this year?
It's funny, like I have this conversation with a lot of people. When I left last year, that was supposed to be it, right? I wasn't going to do anything. And then Michael approached me and I was just like, I can't not take up this position that Michael's offered me. It's just too good to not do and not be part of the commentary team. And then my friend Claire, who's running the socials for the Rhinos and doing all sorts of things, I just wanted to help as much as I could. So I reached out to Claire, and Claire was more than happy to have me come on board. And we sort of discussed a few different things and different ways we wanted to maybe try and shift the brand for the Rhinos and different graphics and things like that. And hopefully it's all worked out pretty well, and people are enjoying the graphics that we're doing. I've got a Bert Malloy graphic to come out this week for Game 300 once he ticks over as well, which I'm pretty excited about. But just wanted to help a friend, really. And the allegiances, over the years, I've become very neutral, Sean. So it's like people know me as a Mustangs fan, but at the end of the day, and I said this to Ray Khalil's wife, Danny, the other day, I said, I just want my friends, because I've made so many friends through hockey and the club level players, coaches, and things like that. I just want to see my friends succeed. So whether or not that is Melbourne Ice, Newcastle North Stars, Central Coast Rhinos, Ice Dogs, it doesn't matter to me. If they're succeeding, then I'm happy for them. So it's like I've become very neutral. I've got a Mustangs poster behind me here up on the wall, but it's just every year that ticks by when I did the media stuff, I became more neutral in terms of support and just a hockey fan and wanting my friends to have success.
Makes sense. I can totally see that as well. It kind of happens. I think the more and more you stick around the league, and I guess you get involved in different aspects in hockey here, you tend to get a bit more neutral because you kind of want everyone to succeed. Like, that's how I always feel. As you say, I have friends all over the league now at different teams, whatever it is, and I just want everyone to do well. It does make it hard.
I think you just want the sport to grow as a whole, and I think that's where you sort of your heart lies. And I think Courtney and I have spoken about it in terms of the Australian Women's Ice Hockey League too, of not really having a team. It's more just the entire league that we want to see in women's hockey grow, which makes it so special.
Yeah. I mean, I own a piece of merch from every team now, except Melbourne Ice. It's the only one I'm missing. So I'm waiting for them to bring out something cool next season that I can get. So
I'm waiting for those teams to bring out scarves. I love collecting scarves, and no one bringing out scarves, damn it.
It's summer. They play in summer.
Yeah, I suppose. Anyway, that's okay. Steve Smith says, one big family. That is right. And you got some love here, Diggy, Todd. Socials are looking awesome, and they are. Like, you guys are absolutely killing it. And it's not just your graphics and that as well. It's also the videography this year. I'm finding the videography across the league to be next level this year.
Yeah.
We've got videos coming out with backing soundtracks and all this. You got interesting player mics and all that sort of stuff. We had referee mics from one of the last games as well for the network hockey guys. Like, it just, I just absolutely loving it.
And banter with Baz. We need more banter with Baz.
Yeah. Oh, look, Paul's got me covered here. The dogs have scarves and beanies this year, Sean. Yes. I can get some dogs scarves and beanies. Fantastic. I'm looking forward to it. I can't wait to go up to Sydney to do that. That'd be great. But yeah, one thing I did want to say, Dougie, as well, is that I am finding that your graphics as well keep improving week to week. I love looking out for what your latest graphics are, and seeing the different techniques that you're now implementing. It's just it's fantastic to see.
Yeah, it's a lot of just self-teaching, a lot of YouTube tutorials, and also what I find is I do a bit of a browse across Instagram of things of different. So there's different clubs, baseball clubs, like minor league baseball clubs in the US and things like that. I check out what they're doing. I sort of try and check out what's sort of trending and how people are doing things, and then I sort of try and mash it up into my own little thing that we can put out for the Rhinos. But it's just a lot of self-teaching, a lot of tutorials across YouTube, and going through different programs. And I use Canva and different apps and things in there, and testing things out to try and make it look as professional as we can.
Yeah, I've done a lot of that myself over the years too. And I'm sure, Court, you do the same.
Yeah. I mean, the three of us have a lot of conversations about, hey, look what I've made. What do you think? How do I fix it? Some of our frequent conversations. So.
And I mean, that's also another big thing too. Like, everyone sort of helping each other out and giving advice. And yeah, it's absolutely massive. And yeah, Daniel, socials across the league as a whole have really lifted this year. And I think that's very true. Like, and it's been a trend over the last few years of, you know, the socials really getting a lot better, and yeah, and you know, people interacting a lot more. It's great to see.
Shout out to Daniel too, accredited photographer for the league this year as well, which is really cool.
Yeah, we got a lot. There's a lot of photographers this year. I don't know if you guys have actually looked at the folder, the drive, but there's a lot of photographers. And a lot of people who are basically learning their craft as well, which is also great to see. Yeah. So I want to now shift into looking ahead. We're only 20 minutes away from the first game of the weekend. Let's start off with Friday night's game. There's obviously round 2 of the Melbourne Derby. Sold out game. It's a really big match for both teams. Obviously, the first game, the Mustangs came out winners. It was a very close game in the end. There was a bit of a comeback from the ice to send it to OT and then to a shootout. But yeah, what are you most looking forward to tonight, Courtney?
I just think it's a different kind of derby because, I don't know, there's just something about the Melbourne vibe that I enjoy. And look, I think a little piece of my heart is very much leaning towards the Mustangs with, you know, Dave Ferrari at the helm, and he was been a North Star for such a long time that I'm keen to see him succeed and do really well down there in this role. So, look, so much can happen. They've got some incredible players on both sides, and it's interesting hockey whenever I watch these two play. So, you know, Melbourne Ice has been in an interesting bit of a slump, as we mentioned earlier in the podcast. So, you know, can the Mustangs capitalize on that? Can they come out and do a bit better in their power play in this game? Like, maybe, you know, if Coach Ferrari's been working on it, they you know, if things are starting to gel a bit more for the Mustangs that aren't gelling for the Ice, we might see it like the Ice lean a bit more in their favor. So, No, I just enjoy it because it just feels like a good vibe coming through the TV. So
Excellent. Diggy, how are you feeling about tonight? Of course, it should also be noted that this is the return of Joey Hughes tonight as well.
yeah,
I don't know if the Mustangs have released a lineup across their socials for the game. I haven't seen anything. I think one thing is, like Courtney was just saying, I think one thing's for certain, we're going to get power plays. Well, like the Melbourne Derby, it's full of penalties these days. That's all it seems to be. People going to the penalty box and scuffles and little fights and things like that. It's a big game for the Melbourne Ice. If the Melbourne Mustangs are able to get the points here, it just sets them back again even further. It would be game number 7 for the Melbourne Ice this season as well. I think Matt Caruana is leading the way for the Ice this season, really trying to just sort of carry them through this early part of the season. I think the loss of Nathan Kutcher as well is going to be huge for the Melbourne Ice as well. So it's going to change up a few different things, but it could be whoever performs on the power play at the end of the day with this game, considering that I predict a lot of penalty minutes to be handed out across the 3 periods. So if anyone could take control of the power play, it's probably going to put them in the best position to get a win.
Yeah, and there's also, I haven't been able to confirm this today, unfortunately, but there's also been a lot of rumours going around that the Melbourne Ice's Brandon Locasey, I think that's how you pronounce his name.
Lucchese.
He's returned home to Canada, so I don't know if he'll be on the game. So I haven't seen any lineups for either team yet, so be interesting to see if that's true or not. If there has, that would just leave Colton Schindel being the only import for the Ice, which, Colton Schindel has made an impact since coming back, but it leaves them very short of a lot of, I guess, star power up front. But
I heard the same thing, Sean, that he's gone back to Canada, and just looking at the Ice lineup for tonight, he's not named.
Yeah, okay. There you go. So, a bit on the back foot there, but hopefully they will be able to pull through and put on a good showing, and we'll see who can come out winner. But also important. It's also an important game for the Mustangs too. Obviously, if they win tonight, they can't lose the series versus the Ice this year, which is great for them. But they're also coming off a loss as well, so to get back into winning ways is always important, especially when you're up the top part of the table and you're looking to challenge. It will be an interesting game, and we'll see if Timmins can do well again tonight. He's been quite good at the start of the season as well, so it should be fun. We did put out a graphic earlier on this, so if anyone wants to see, I actually have it on here. There you go. Melbourne Derby, look at that. I'm not been using my scenes as I should have been. I prepped these scenes and have not used them at all. That's okay. Obviously, there are some other big games this weekend. There's also Take 2 for the Battle of Nowhere this weekend. Actually, Take 2 and 3 between Canberra Brave and Newcastle North Stars in Canberra this time at the AIS Arena. Hopefully, the Ice is good. I've been told it's good, so it should go ahead, which is great. Interesting series, Court. For instance, Newcastle could win their series versus the Brave this weekend. It's also very unusual to have 2 games between Canberra and Newcastle in the one weekend. Normally they're spread out.
Yeah, this season's whole schedule is very weird. So this just adds to that. No, I think it'll be good. It's a good rivalry between these 2 teams. It's always interesting, and look, I think there is a small advantage that leans towards Newcastle's favour in that we've got our imports are in place. We've got a lot of things in place where Canberra's missing a few pieces of the puzzle still. So, can Newcastle capitalise on that, or will Brave just come out and play some unbelievable hockey? Like, it's no matter what, it's going to be really fun.
It is interesting. I actually had a look earlier today, when I was actually looking at this sort of series results between Canberra and Newcastle over the years. So over the last 11 years, Newcastle have only won the series once, and that was in 2024. Canberra have won pretty much most of the rest of the time. There's been a couple of draws. Really good opportunity for Newcastle to get that series win, and to do it in Canberra would be pretty special in front of all those big crowds this weekend. So, yeah, I think good opportunity for the North Stars. But hopefully a good entertaining series of games in Canberra, because Canberra fans, they've had to wait a while to get a home game, and there was an extra week thrown into it. But hopefully the arena will rock. And I have seen a little sneak peek of the intro for this year when they come out onto the ice and whatever. It looks great. So yeah, it should be a lot of fun and a bit of a spectacle. The other big series this weekend, moving on, Lightning are obviously back in action. They obviously missed last week as well. They weren't in action. There was only 4 games. So they're back at home in Queensland versing the Bears. Tough game to return to. They've had a very topsy-turvy start to the season. They've obviously had 3 weekends, 2 of which were disasters, really, and then a really good weekend in the middle of that. I don't quite know what to expect. One thing that we can expect is the Lightning have signed a new import, Grant Hebbett, who will be, I don't know if he'll be playing this weekend. Don't know if he's got his ITC yet, but a really good pickup. Have you guys had a chance to have a look at this guy's CV?
No, but I trust your judgment. If you say he's good, I believe you.
Doogie?
Just briefly on elite prospects, seems to have a pretty good resume, especially coming from leagues that have performed, like players that come from these leagues have performed here, whether or not that is like ACHL or the Elite Ice Hockey League in the UK. So playoff experience as well, performed there. So it could be a good signing for the Lightning.
Yes, UK fans, definitely. He had a good season with the Manchester Storm. Everyone who seems to come here seems to have played for the Manchester Storm at least some point in their career. Yeah, and also has quite a lot of experience at NCAA level as well. So he should be a good pickup. I've been told he looks really good in training. So I think the Lightning are excited to get him into the team and onto the ice, and onto the AIHL spotlight. But yeah, we'll see how that goes.
I think it's going to be some great games. Like Daniel's comment, like kind of hits my point, like the nail on the head for my point, in that Lightning look good at home. They look great at home. And when they played against Melbourne Ice and won both games at home against, the defending champs, it's like you start to feel like they've got something solid happening at home, and then they just need to find how to take that on the road. So, yeah, I definitely think we'll be in for a pretty good game.
Yes, but I think he's got a different meaning towards this. But anyway, yes, I agree.
I just thought
no, they were very good at home against the Ice. So, but they played really well that weekend. So, Dawn Boss was absolutely on top of his game. So it'd be good to see how they go. It'll be really interesting to see how the Bears travel. Obviously, first time under Ryan as coach, just after all of this upheaval. They did do well last week. So, yeah, who knows what Bears team's going to rock up, but hopefully it'll be a good series. Then we've got Ice Dogs are on the road in Melbourne. Right. All I've got down on this, and my notes are pretty poor on this, is that his game is country night. Okay. Hopefully everyone has a fun time with country night at the Mustangs, but it should be a good game. I'm really looking forward to it. Ice Dogs obviously having a good season, but we haven't really seen them too much away, so it'll be good to see if they can replicate that form in Melbourne. Diggy, are you looking forward to that game at all? You're going to be watching?
Yeah, I'll be at the game tomorrow. My first in-person game this season. to check it out. Also catching up with some Ice Dogs people there as well. Catch up with Ollie while I'm there as well. So yeah, looking forward to a good weekend of hockey in Melbourne between the Ice Dogs, Mustangs in the ice, and it is the bit of a test for the Ice Dogs to see how they go down in Melbourne.
Awesome. And then, yeah, obviously the Rhinos are away this weekend, as we touched on before, with that crazy weekend in Adelaide and Perth. It's going to be interesting to see how they, I guess, how they react to what happened last week. It did seem to be a little bit of a regression back to Rhinos of old last week, so it'll be interesting to see if they can bounce back to their form previously or if that's going to continue.
The Oslo media curse.
What is it? I actually put this in the thing in here. Look at this. Ice Dogs. They're convinced that we're a curse. I don't know about this. I don't trust that at all. But anyway, supposedly we're now a curse. Whoever we go for or whoever we promote, that team tends to be quite bad that week. But yeah, it should be a good game. They should be good. Adelaide, of course, won their last game in Adelaide, so it was in a shootout, but they still won. Hopefully they can, for them, they were hoping that they will be able to continue that. Should be fun. And then, yeah, Perth obviously have their two Finnish defenders who are now on their roster. So I don't know how to pronounce their names. Kluskari and Oivanen, I don't know. But yeah. So anyway, they're building up their team. They've now actually got a full complement of imports. So yeah, Perth have been very dangerous this season so far. Hugh Kasaka has really been hitting it off yet again. But yeah, what are you guys expecting, Courtney? What are you expecting from this sort of series across different states?
I'm hoping we just obviously we get some great games. So I think we might be in for some surprises, maybe a couple of predictable wins that just from what we're talking about there. But no, I think these matchups are actually a lot of fun. So I'll probably catch most of these games this weekend. And look, it's hard to call where scores are going to sit. Like, I'd love to see the Mustangs win. Obviously, I'd love to see the North Stars take out 2 in Canberra, but maybe we'll get a split. And I would say maybe probably Lightning might have a pretty solid game. I think they'll be pretty close. Ice Dogs and Rhinos have a bit of travel, so it'll be interesting to see every weekend. I'm always interested to see how that travel affects how they play. There was an early weekend where Rhinos were in Melbourne and then they flew home and played on the Sunday and they blitzed it. So it's like it's actually really hard to know how they're going to be affected by that travel. But yeah, we'll see. Ask me next.
Games, do you?
I think like if you're a Rhinos player, I suppose that there's no more motivation than Bert playing game 300 to try and get a win there over in Perth. I think it falls on the Perth game on Sunday. The 2 Finnish defenders, they look really solid. Like the one of the Lightning, when you just look at EP stats, like it's consistent playoff performers and a lot of experience there. So that looks really solid for Perth. I think if you're the Rhinos, it's a tough schedule, playing Adelaide, flying from Adelaide to Perth. And it's also the first time that the Rhinos will shift over to smaller ice sheets too. So if you go through their games this season, they've played all their games on the same size ice sheet, like O'Brien, Erina, Macquarie,
That's a really interesting
Hunter.
point, because one of their big strengths has been their speed, which really lends itself to big ice.
Yeah, that was my thought when you look at players like Bastille and Boulvan who can get up the ice and really get the wheels going. I think potentially the smaller ice sheet, you don't know how that's going to play out with the Rhinos. But they're good enough on their day, especially if you got Oberoi in net. Oberoi can blank you as well. So they're good enough to get road wins. Yeah, so it'd be a good game in Adelaide, I think, between those 2 teams. Adelaide are a team that want to keep winning, and they sit at the foot of the standings, looking for their first regulation win this season. But you say it every year, don't you, with Adelaide? You just want to see their fans have some success. They've got a good hockey culture. So it should be a good game.
That was so close the other week too. Like, they were like seconds away from getting that regulation win when Herman scored the equalizer. Like, right, and it was such a scrappy goal too. It like just managed to find its way in. My heart did, feel for the Adelaide fans on that. But I agree. It seems to be a very similar thing that we say every season. So hopefully they can do well, but hopefully equally the Rhinos travel well. That'll be interesting to see. And Adelaide, Perth Perth have been in great form this year so far, so we'll see how they go as well. And they've been good at home. Anyway, thanks guys. This has been fantastic. Are there any final things you want to say, Doogie?
No, thanks for having me on. I'm always here if you need a guest to jump on and talk about hockey. I'm happy to jump on and have a chat, and hopefully I added something of value to the live show.
So much value, my friend. So much value. It was always great having you on.
Yeah.
Courtney, have you got any last words?
Yeah, look, as always, thank you to everyone that's tuned in live, jumped in the comment section. We love having you interact with us live and being a part of it. Look, I want to make a special shout out to Jared that I know is over in Canada, and I think it's probably about 3 or 4 a.m. We have Anthony in the UK who's just every week part of the comment section watching us live. I think it's about 8 a.m. around where he is, so a little bit more like easy to watch. It's just really cool that we've expanded to a point we have overseas people tuning in with us, and I can't go past saying, it's always great to have you on, Doogie. You've always got such great insight, and we're such big fans of you. So thank you for coming on board and joining us again tonight.
It's 10:30 in the morning over there.
Even better.
I just will say one thing, because I know we've collaborated just quickly. I know we've got to go. The derby's nearly on. The Six Dub Hockey page, I know that we've collaborated, Oz Hockey Media and Six Dub Hockey, which covers the women's league here, the A-Dub. Just keep an eye out. There's some big news coming in the next few days with that. Six Dub Hockey. So
looking forward to it, Doogie.
Yeah, so check it out.
My last thing is remember to like and subscribe on all of our channels. Share the graphics and updates with your friends. Let them know where we are over at Oz Hockey Media. We are on Facebook and Instagram where we're sharing lots of updates about player milestones, scores, ladders, everything that you need to know about what's happening around the AIHL. And we'd love you to share it with anyone that's coming on board that's looking for a team. So many people looking for teams to follow this year. Send them to us. So thank you everyone for joining us tonight. Yep,
and just a quick thing. This episode will be available for catch up on both YouTube and Spotify. Tell everyone, get them to watch. It's great. Thanks, everyone. Cheers. Have a great evening. Enjoy the Bob and Derby.